Headphones on, let's do this.
Hey, do you know of a podcast I could listen to that has nerd and comic books and stuff? I really can't find one.
I say, you ever heard of the Nerd Dumb Podcast?
All right. Well, we will not be doing an intro today because it is broken for some reason.
One more time. Oh.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerd Dome Podcast, episode 259. I am your podcaster without fear, Luke, and today I am joined with these nice fellows.
And I am the alliterative Andrew.
And classic Chris Hoffman from Validity Studios.
Yeah. I have no idea why that wasn't working. Like, we got through about 3 seconds of the intro the first time around and about 6 seconds the second time around. So
we'll just run it at the end of the show and see what happens.
yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, guys.
I'd like to
how you been?
Oh,
yes.
As a member of our studio audience, Natalie. Hello. Who does not want
Hi,
to be on
Natalie.
camera.
Who's going to avoid that? So they may or may not actually be there.
Yes.
That would be amazing. Just a made up, like,
Hey, there it
special-
goes.
that just made me think of Jaws,
Yes.
but it's just a duck bill. Yeah, how you guys been? How's your week been?
Oh, man. Just so great.
I can feel the sincerity behind
Yeah.
that.
No, this is looking forward to recordings and stuff like that because there's a lot of elderly parent medical issues going on in the Hoffman household right now. That there's a lot of doctor's appointments and arguing with very elderly people about said doctor's appointments. So, but things are going really, really well. You know what I mean? It's just that's always a stressful thing. But
Right.
the Whatnot channel actually has been doing really well. We're getting a few folks who come back several times, and we let them know about this show. So if they come back, sometimes it's a repeat of whatever I've been yelling about on Monday. I kind of try out some subjects.
You
on
trying out the material on the
Yeah.
Whatnot crowd.
Workshopping it a little bit with the audience and stuff, seeing what's working, what's not, you know what I mean? And so then they can come over here into a little bit more loosely organized version of some of that.
So it's like it started out as a finely tuned rant, but then it just opened up.
Yeah, and then it just devolves.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it's better or not. That's up to you. That's you to decide.
It's just a different format. It's fine. It's
yeah.
fine.
I only have one joke, you know what I mean? And it's just one note, one trick pony, and I'm going to do it over and over again.
Hey, it works for Cyclops.
At least it's one. Yes, it's true.
What about you, Andrew? How you been?
I've been doing great. I spent today exactly how I wanted to. I ran some
Diving into a vault of Silver Age comics like your Scrooge McDuck.
So you're not wrong, but I ran some fun errands with my daughter in the morning, and then I hung out with Natalie this afternoon reading a bunch of the Jughead comics that Chris got me for my birthday. And then we watched Return of the Jedi. So pretty full afternoon. It was a lot of fun.
Those Jughead comics are pretty great. And I've mentioned it before that if you read it with an eye towards acknowledging that he is coded as asexual, it's 10 times funnier.
Yes. Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
it is, yeah, the way he's like pulling it back from all the ladies at the beach is like,
Yes.
Ew, girl.
Yes. He's ranting about it. It is violently opposed to it, you know. Yeah, if he was if he was into if he started getting into blaming the women for the problem, he would be like the first incel appearance in comics, right? This is your fault. I'm mad at you, Betty.
Don't put that on Jughead.
Not at
Not
all.
really dark. Yeah.
Not at all. No. That's why I'm saying it's not there. It's not there.
Awesome. Oh, I didn't get to tell you our good friend Philip Seavey. He is starting to post up some of his original art that he did for X-Men, and I was actually able to grab a page from him today.
Oh, I didn't
And
see that they were for sale. Send me a
Yeah.
link when you have a chance. Or are they sold
I
out?
will.
Okay.
No, they're not sold out.
Okay.
But yeah, that's actually my first original art that I've had. So
Awesome. That's really
I'm
cool.
excited.
I would
Yeah.
love to add it to the collection.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he got it's a page and it's got Danny Moonstar on it, and you know how much I like Danny Moonstar, so I
Oof,
was
yeah.
like, yeah, I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that.
Rad.
So the thing about starting to grab original art, it is, from what I understand, it's kind of like getting tattoos. You'll
Uh-huh.
get one, and then you will be like, you know what would be great is another
Another
tattoo.
one.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I stopped buying prints.
Mhm.
And it's just like, well, if I'm going to hang something up, it should be an original art page or something, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I do have a few prints, but they're like the Alex Ross signed, like San Diego Comic-Con exclusive ones, and
It's pretty cool.
I don't have Alex Ross original kind of money.
Oh no.
So that's not happening. And then I've got like the art that you guys have done for me and our friend Travis. It'll be cool to add Phillips up there. And then most of my other stuff I have are classic comic covers that I have hung up. And I like that, but they'll slowly get replaced with original art. Like talking to someone that has tattoos and gets more tattoos, I am going to fall into this trap. I already know it. So I'm just
not a
preparing
bad thing.
myself now. But yeah. So and then also once he posts the other link to open it up to everybody, I'll share that on our podcast page. So follow our Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. So you too can have awesome Phillips EV comic art. So before we jump into it, Andrew, last week we talked about The Acolyte.
Yes.
And I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Did you really want to get my thoughts on
we do.
it, Luke?
We do.
Okay. It felt like a fan film. The makeup seemed less good than I would have hoped for such a considering how good the robots and the background and the
spaceships and
looked, you know what I mean? And then it's I don't know, it's fine. I mean,
will it redeem itself if we get to see a Wookiee take someone's arm off in the next one that we keep hearing about that Wookiees do?
No, I didn't need to see that to know that that's a threat. The
Okay.
Chewbacca sold that with this. He doesn't have to prove shit to anybody, right? He's Chewbacca.
Right.
You don't need to show it. He's got his reputation.
Yeah.
And it was probably just a joke to bully the robots, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we got some comments from our listeners, and they a lot of them agree with Chris, his take on it. With the again, the fan film look that I believe Ryan said that, but we were all like, yep, that pretty much nails it right there. A very good fan film.
Certainly.
Very good fan
high
film.
quality. Looks like they live in LA or whatever. New Zealand. Yeah.
I was, as I was thinking about it, I mean, I'm going to watch the third episode after we're done tonight. But I feel like they revealed the sister too early in the series. I feel like that's like a midway through the series reveal.
Agreed. You've got agreement in the room over here too.
Yeah.
Because I watched
feel
the
like
first the 2 episodes with Natalie. So
yeah, I feel like that would have been, build it up a little bit. Like, oh, did she do it? Is she going unconscious and murdering Jedi in her sleep? Because they could play up on that a little bit, but by the end of the second episode, or the first 10 minutes of the second episode, you're like, oh, okay.
The main assassin girl,
Mm-hmm.
what was her name
Mai?
again? May.
May?
She's the assassin, or no? May's our main character. No, what's the main character's name?
Oh my goodness. I'll look it up.
So anyway, May seems situationally competent.
Mhm.
Like she's really like super competent, getting away, jumping around, fighting the Jedi.
So the main
Osha?
character is Osha,
Osha.
and
Osha,
her
that's
sister
right.
is May.
That's why she's such a fan of railing.
Yes.
Right. Osha.
They did. There's no one in the room that said, "Don't name her that." You know what I mean? Because OSHA, she's the OSHA violation, right? Like,
Yeah.
come
Yeah,
on,
she'll
guys.
show up to tell you how much milk you can dump down the drain.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what, Chris? I shared a meme in our group chat that was people complaining about the fire in space, and then it was
Yes.
the Death Star blowing up and fire in space, and
Yeah.
like 6 other times
There
in Star
are-
Wars there was fire in space.
There are so many real objections you can make to it. That seems like a straw man.
Yeah, I feel like we spent about 5 minutes talking about it though, so maybe
Yeah.
we're part of the problem. But yeah. So I'm still gonna watch it because I want to see. And again, maybe it's one that plays better, complete, where you can watch it
Yeah,
all the way
I-
through. So I'm gonna keep watching it. I mean, I like Star Wars, so I like
I
Jedi
watched-
especially. So
Death Star.
oh
You
yeah,
know, like,
You
I'm a
know what I
fan.
have been watching
That's
that I have been enjoying is
Hmm.
My Adventures with Superman season 2.
Yep. It's been
That's
amazing.
Been terrific.
Been phenomenal.
Yeah, the last episode they introduced John Henry Irons and
Mhm.
Silas Stone,
Oh, so,
Cyborg's
I-
dad.
did you? I believe there's another one.
Oh, sure, but that's the last
Yeah,
one I
there's-
saw. Yeah,
There's one more where they introduce the cousin,
oh yay!
Clark's
They've
cousin,
been
and she
teasing it. Yeah,
her outfit looks exactly like Android 18 from Dragon Ball Z, like the white shirt with the little black vest, and she even has like the haircut the same way. And I don't know if that's an homage or, but like someone.
there's a lot of that anime homage in the
Oh yeah,
story.
but yeah, I saw a picture of them side by side, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a little dead on, even where the patch is on the vest." And I was like, "Okay,
Didn't change the homework enough.
yeah." I was like, "This has to be on purpose." I mean, it has to be, but yeah, no, that it's great. Like, it's almost one of my favorite portrayals of Superman,
It's pretty great. They get it.
and it's
They
really
they
good.
understand the character, and even though it's a little anime-ish,
Mhm.
I'm here for it. I love it. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
my-
Like they've changed some of the characters to be more tropey for like an
Right.
anime audience, but I get it. You
Mhm.
gotta. It doesn't all have to be Superman the animated series. In fact, it's good if it isn't.
Mhm.
As long as they
Yeah.
understand the character, and it is at Clark's heart, he's Clark, not Superman. Superman is the
Mhm.
costume he puts on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I've liked again. I like the way that they kind of it's more of the Christopher Reeves kind of goofy, like clumsy Clark. But he's still kind of goofy and clumsy as Superman, but you can see that he's maturing into it when he is out as Superman. Yeah, I've been loving it.
My
And I
toughest
can't
thing is
wait for more.
Chris Parnell as Deathstroke.
Oh yeah,
Cyril Fig.
Cyril Figgis. Yeah, no, it's good though. I like Lois too. I like the take on Lois that they're doing.
She's terrific. Feels like Lois Lane still.
Mhm.
Jumping
And I
down
like
the elevator shaft, that sort of thing. Very
Oh
Lois
no!
Lane. Yeah.
Don't jump down that elevator shaft. Oh no, I'm not gonna. Oh no, you better catch me. Bye. Ugh. I like conspiracy theorist Jimmy, like Jimmy Olsen, web conspiracy theorist. I like that. Yeah, I like Vicky Vale. I think that's awesome. Like that's a good pull to have in that.
Yeah, I asked Kirsten, what are some other reporters in Metropolis that don't work for the planet. And Kirsten racked her brain, and she's like, no, they'd need to bring in somebody from Gotham or something.
Mhm.
Because she's like,
Yeah.
well, Iris was a reporter, and there's like she couldn't come up with. So
My again, my daughter with the hair color of characters. She's because we watched the '89 Batman, and Kim Basinger's playing Vicky Vale, but Vicky Vale in the series has dark hair, and she was like, well, is she blonde or and I'm like, I'm not familiar enough with Vicky Vale lore.
I've got
to tell
bad
you
news
one
for
way or
you.
the
She's
other.
a redhead in the comics.
Oh, so never let
Yeah.
her see the comics, because then she'll get even more mad at me.
Well, yes, and she appears in at least one episode of Batman Brave and the Bold with the red hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna win this like animated hair color battle, and
Not
she
one.
keeps bringing it back up. But yeah, okay. So over the weekend, we're gonna talk a little video game stuff. At the Xbox 2024 showcase came out, and we got to see. It's basically since they shut down E3, each publisher is doing their own, and it's just it's what most of the people tuned into E3 for. Like, give us 80% trailers of the games and then tell us like a little bit about it, or say, hang on till the end and we can tell you more about whatever. So people can watch the trailers and then dip out, or they can hang around and watch like some behind the scenes stuff. But we got some good ones from the Xbox showcase this year. We got the new Gears of War game.
Yes.
It's called Gears of War E-Day, and it's a prequel. I believe it's like 10 years before the first game. I'm not huge on Gears of War. I've played, here and there a little bit. But I know people just love it. Yeah.
I've never played it. I had a hero click from it though.
I played way more Gears than I ever did Halo. And we're sort of a Halo, we're like an Xbox family because my kids loved Halo so much. And so Dad was the one where they were like, oh, Dad likes Gears. So the first thing they did is they came in after the showcase. My 18-year-old came downstairs and he's like, did you see there's a new Gears coming out? And I was like, yes, I did. And you get Marcus again. It's like, yay, this time
Just
machine.
what you wanted.
Yes, it's this is for me, and I'm gonna sit there holding it with my fingernails and gnashing at everyone, like, this is for me. You leave me alone. It's fine. But it looks from the trailer like it's the invasion, right? So it's like an Earth-based Gears, which is gonna be pretty cool because it's been a long time since playing a Gears game, right? So taking you back to the beginning and reintroducing everything seems like a really good idea. Movies, there is no good prequels. There are none. There's one I will argue about. Video games, very different story. There are lots of good prequels. And so the fact that it's a prequel doesn't put it behind the 8 ball the way it does for movies.
What movie's the best prequel?
Yeah, which one is it?
Which is it?
Do you know?
Oh,
or does anybody
know? I don't.
It's Temple of Doom.
Oh,
Did you know the prequel? It's the only prequel that's really good, almost better than the original.
I was thinking Indiana Jones.
The only reason that is because of the year they put at the very beginning of the movie. It happens before. They hide it from you, and it doesn't matter. It's the only good prequel.
Okay.
Die on that hill.
Okay. Would you count Rogue One as a prequel?
Yes. That's the best fan film Star Wars has ever made.
Okay.
I will not get in that sandbox with Rogue One. I've seen friends who have posted their favorite ones, and Rogue One is like 1 or 2, and is like, what are you smoking? There's no way on God's green earth that I'm gonna go along with that one. There's a lot of fun stuff about it, but yeah, we can get into that.
So
later.
you heard that,
Gears.
all the
Gears.
listeners.
Let's get out of Star Wars.
Send Chris Rogue One t-shirts.
Yes.
Only Rogue One t-shirts. Okay. So the next one we got was from id Software. I thought this is pretty interesting. It's called Doom: The Dark Ages. and it's the Doomslayer back in like I wouldn't say medieval times, but it's definitely more like open like combat, and he's got like a mace. I was very confused until they showed the shotgun, and I was like, oh, this is Doom. Okay.
These new Dooms have been like, they're such an elegant game to play, right? Because
Mhm.
like all of the controls work, the way you defeat the enemies, it's like a dance, you know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
playing a song. It's so good. And then what do you do on that one to make it even better? You make it Conan the Barbarian. It's like
Right.
that's you add
Yeah.
fur
Wait,
and
there's a
loincloths to
shotgun?
everything.
So it's like Army of Darkness,
Yes.
But but
There's
there's still
which
like
is also
lasers
selling
and
it
it's
for me.
weird.
Like that's
oh yeah. It's
Yeah,
like an
it looks
80s
amazing.
It's like an 80s fantasy heavy metal album cover is what
Right.
it looks like, because there's
With
a
a little
point.
bit of Skyrim in there too.
Yes, a little
I'm
bit of
in.
Skyrim, a
That
little bit of
sounds great.
steampunk, you know, it's enough of everything where you'd think this is too much, but they're
But it
being
works.
real careful about, because you're also
Yeah.
flying around on a dragon that has laser wings.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
as long as this takes to make, go ahead and make it. There's a gun where you're actually feeding like the skeletons of the bad guys into it, and it's grinding them up in front of you and shooting it out at the bad guys.
It's
Like
amazing.
looks so cool.
It's
that
amazing.
sounds rad.
Yes.
I remember
Did,
I
did
had the
14-year-old Andy design this? That's crazy.
Yes, they gave him like a 6-pack of Red Bull and said, just name all the things you think are cool, and we're gonna put them on a whiteboard, and we're gonna put in as many as we can.
Yeah, I remember like I had a problem. Or I didn't have a problem. I was not very good at the new Doom games when they first came out. And then I was watching something on id Software. It was like a mini documentary thing. And the guy said, if you stop moving, you die.
Yep.
And once that got in my head, it's just always move. Doesn't matter. Like, even if you're lost, always keep moving, just keep running and gunning. And then I was like, oh, I get it.
Yep.
I get the mechanic of this game now. And then I've had a blast since then. My daughter will sit there and watch me play it, and she is laughing hysterically. They're just like blowing up left and right and throwing grenades. She gets a little when like the chainsaw comes out, but she
It gives
thinks
you
it's
every
hilarious.
opportunity to have a cinematic kill and a
Mm.
cinematic moment in a video game,
Mhm.
and they happen all of the time. It's really great.
Mhm. Okay, next we got I need to do a little more digging on this, but they announced a few years ago a game called Dragon Age Dreadwolf that was the follow-up to Dragon Age Inquisition. They have changed the name, and now it is called Dragon Age the Veilguard. And it's the next it's EA and BioWare. And yeah, it says that the veil is a barrier between the physical world and the Fade, which is Dragon Age's spirit realm. So you're trying to combat that and keep the enemies from the veil at bay. I love the Dragon Age games. This looks awesome. Like my wife also loves Dragon Age, so she goes back and plays Dragon Age 2 like in the summer, and she'll just play Dragon Age 2 again.
Yep.
And then
Wife does the same thing. Yeah, she absolutely loves Dragon Age, and she's got all of the comic books even, like, so yeah,
Mhm.
new Dragon Age. The one thing about that one is that they didn't explain like what kind of game you're going to play, but it seems like it should be a first person RPG, but we were scared because we were like,
Mhm.
is this going to be a Diablo style? Is this going to be something else? You
Yeah,
know what I mean? But it looked like
from
it
what
should
I
be in the... Oh, go ahead.
I said from what I could see and what I was reading on it, that it is more reminiscent to a Dragon Age 2, where the kid you're not. I mean, Dragon Age Inquisition still had the kind of moving the squad around type stuff, but I think it's still gonna feel like all the other Dragon Age games. I don't think we're going to like an RTS or even something like Baldur's Gate. I don't think we're doing that. I think we're kind of sticking with what has worked for them. But yeah, I'm excited for that one too.
Yep.
Next, we had Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. And if you're a kid of the 90s and PlayStation, Metal Gear Solid was where it's at. It looked amazing. I've played them here and there. Not my favorite franchise, but I've enjoyed what I've played. It's usually just like the story just gets like, I'm like, wait, what is happening? Who is this person? Like, I get that so much. It's so confusing.
Played Metal Gear Solid 2 on PlayStation 2, and I remember I absolutely loved it. It's so much fun. I bought all of the McFarlane action figures when they came out, and I remember getting to the end of the game and it being like 1 a.m. or something like that, right? Like I was so tired, but I got all the way through that, and then there's that like 45-minute ending to the video game where they're trying to explain to you that there's a giant spaceship that flies the Illuminati around the world, and that's what makes all the decisions. And it was like, the fuck? And I played the next one after that, but I haven't played one since because I was like, this makes no sense whatsoever.
I mean, I loved the James Bond music that they would play at the beginnings. Like the James Bond intro with the whole band and everything. I loved it.
Great puzzles to solve. So much fun with the sneaky guy stuff, and each part of the game was so much fun. So yeah, this is a lot of nostalgia stuff. If they can pull it off, it'll be great.
Yep. The next one also, I mentioned earlier, my wife loves Dragon Age. The other one she loves is Fable. And we got the trailer for the next Fable game, and that series has somehow was able to combine like the funniness and like ridiculousness of fantasy games with something that's really story driven and very it just captures your attention. And like I believe it was the second one that I played where you have to eat food to get back health. And I remember I got into a fight and I was this, skinny, strapping lad at the beginning of the fight, but I had to eat so many pies and cheese wheels to stay alive. By the end, I look like Jack Black. And I had to eat a bunch of celery to thin out. But I'm just like, I loved it. Like, I'm so excited for more. It's been so long since because I believe they did Fable like for the Xbox, whatever the motion thing was, whatever they called that. And that was
got Fable 1 and 2 for the original Xbox. Those were a lot of fun.
Those are great. And then they tried to do like the movement, what was that called? Kinect. Yeah, they tried to do a Fable with Kinect and it just didn't work, and then the franchise just evaporated. So I'm so glad to see it come back.
Yeah, their strength is the thing that they do that is supposed to be like nothing else is the decision making has something else to do with the end of the game, with everything else in the game. Like Mass Effect tried to tell you that was happening. It doesn't really, what I mean? There's not that much difference in the actual story when you make the decisions. The thing I liked about Fable was when you actually became the king at one point, and then you had to actually like run the kingdom, because it's kind of one of the things they never deal with in the Conan in the Conan comic. It's like he's the barbarian, all of a sudden he becomes the king, and so now he's like he has to worry about like taxes. You know what I mean? Like
Conan not have strong grasp of economics.
Yeah, they've never dealt with that end of it. So it'll be fun to see what they decide to do as like you making the decisions changes stuff that happens in the game. And they've had really cool cameos in the trailers so far.
Yeah. So we got I haven't really played these too much, the State of Decay zombie games. The third one of that's coming out. We got a bunch of DLC stuff for Fallout 76, Starfield, World of Warcraft, Sea of Thieves, Diablo, Elder Scrolls Online, a whole bunch of DLC popped up for that. And then we got some really cool, I guess say quasi indie games. Like some of them are. There's one coming out from the developers Beethoven and Dinosaur, and it's called Mixtape.
Yeah.
And it's got like that late 80s, early 90s, like that's the soundtrack to it. And the summary of it says, on their last night of high school, three friends embark on one more adventure together, play through a mixtape of memories set to the soundtrack of a generation. And it looks amazing. It almost looks like the art style makes me think of the Lakia movies, like Box Trolls and Paranorman, but a little more refined. It looks like almost like a coming of age movie that you get to play. And I am excited to play this game. Like it looks amazing. And I love just weird games. And usually Annapurna Interactive, they are the publishers. They usually do like some weird, interesting games that end up feeling like you're playing a movie. And this looks more like right down that line. I'm excited for that one. That's kind of a little, again, I wouldn't say independent because Annapurna puts out stuff all the time, but this one looks amazing. The other one that they actually showed a big chunk of with some gameplay is a game from Microsoft Game Studios called South of Midnight. That was the one with the giant fish and the giant island crocodile. It says it's a South of Midnight is a third-person action adventure set in a magic realist version of the American South. And it also kind of had
you had me there at the beginning there, dude, but
hang tight.
Okay.
You bristle when you hear that, but yeah, hang on.
and then Brer Rabbit shows up and I'm like,
no.
nope, out.
So
Sorry.
So you've got to
do.
No,
Hang on. No. Wait.
Not that. But it looks again like I love games that don't look like the other games out there. And this one also it kind of it reminds me of the kind of a mix between the Lakia stop motion stuff and say like the Star Wars Bad Batch Clone Wars, like they had a baby.
This person is sitting right next to this video game is sitting right next to Into the Spider-Verse and copying the homework. Like that it has that like skip frame.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, this is one of those things where they were like, you like this? You know, it looks great. It looks really cool, but yeah, you can see where they got it from.
Oh
and
yeah,
good.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a wonderful style. Use it.
Yeah, it looks amazing. And then the last one, this one's from Square Enix. It's the next installment of the Life is Strange game series, and I have loved those. This one is interesting. It's called Life is Strange Double Exposure, and it's you're bringing in the original Life is Strange character. Max is back in it, and she is jumping between two different realities where one is where her friend has died and the other one you're trying to prevent her friend from dying. And I don't know if you guys have played the Life is Strange games before, but they are fantastic.
Yep.
They're kind of like, I wouldn't say point and click, but they're kind of like decision making and finding clues to advance the story.
Like
sort of an
Kingsman.
advanced novel, visual novel.
Right.
They're great. There's none of those have been bad. So more. That's great.
Yeah. They opened it up with and listen, I know I fall into the I buy these every year and I do it to like just switch off, but the new Call of Duty game, they launched that one. Most of them are the same, but this one I like them when they're set in historical eras, not like, future robots or like current times. Like when they're set in World War II or World War I. This one's set during the Gulf War in 91. So I mean, it's getting close up to kind of modern times, but I think it'll be a fun, different take on it. And the zombies modes on those games are always fun. Just blowing up hordes of zombies for as long as you can with your friends. Like very, very straightforward. Not too much thinking you have to do. And sometimes when you get home from work and you don't really want to think about anything, you just play a couple rounds of Call of Duty and then turn it off and be like, all right, now I can focus on something. So I'm excited for that one. And let's see. Okay, we did get a new Perfect Dark game is coming out, and that looks fantastic.
I tried to replay the old like N64.
Nintendo 64 one.
I can't do it anymore, dude. Like that needs to be like Halo controls. Otherwise, I'm gonna or like Helldivers or something. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to do it. I tried. Oh man, Nate and I were playing N64 with Oliver. Couldn't do it. Yeah.
Yep.
Shout out to Oliver, who I know is listening.
Good. Then we've got the new Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Boo on you. Everything has been hits, and I hated Assassin's Creed since 2. Actually, Brotherhood was pretty good, but
Is that the boat one? I hear nothing but good things about the boat.
Black Flag.
Boat one.
Black Flag. So I hated the Assassin's Creed games. Hated them because I don't like stealth games. I don't like I don't want to sneak around. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Thief, not your favorite?
No. So when Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out and I got to play as a Spartan that could just kick the door down and get what I need, I'm like, this. And they added like RPG stuff, like you could add stats to your health and you could pick your way to play the game. So Odyssey and Valhalla have very much been that. It's much more of an RPG than a stealth assassin stabby stab game.
They should have just got rid of the name. Oh, you go ahead.
Oh no, and they got like before the other games, I heard it's like 40% of the game takes place in like modern times and you're like running from corporations, non-existent in the next in the last two. Like it's maybe 5 minutes of gameplay total. And it's like at the beginning when you pick what you're going to do.
Yeah, just to remind you that this is what IP you're playing.
Right.
Because if it wasn't, you could just make it Viking game and pirate game and this one's going to be samurai game, the game. You know what I mean? Like I'm in protest because I love that aspect of it. The point of these freaking games, the whole cool story element was to be going through your ancestors' DNA in a computer. That was so neat. And then the idea of like that when you die, you're desynchronizing the memories. So creative and so cool. And then they were just like, we don't like that. Let's just get rid of this whole thing. Which I, on one hand, agree with because they were starting to go the Highlander 2 route where they were like, hey, there was a world before ours and this utopian society. And it was like, well, I don't like that. Like, and I think that's what people said. We don't like that. And they were like, oh, you don't like this at all. And they like, no, you got rid of everything. No. Oh God. You know, I loved Assassin's Creed 2 so much. It's the only game in my entire Xbox history where I have a full completion of every single achievement because I didn't want to stop playing that game. I loved that game so much. And then they slowly took away everything I liked about it. Although I'm sure as I understand, like the climbing is not a part of it anymore, really.
I mean, no, you can't. No, that it's still there. All the climb, you can still play the new Assassin's Creed games the exact same way you played the old ones, but they also give you more options of different ways to accomplish.
Right, but stuff. Like where the hell are you going to climb when you're colonial America? I climbed this 2-story building, you know what I mean, and looked at it from the top. It was like, okay, they started running out of places that were like historical that had tall buildings.
Hey,
right, and it's like 2 places.
Listen, they probably amplified it, but in Odyssey that takes place in Greece, there's tons of giant statues, of giant statues.
Yeah, perfect.
And there's. And of course, they're completely naked statues. So
that's what I was gonna say, jumping
you can swing off the Colossus of Rhodes.
Yeah. Well, they have a giant Zeus one, and as you're climbing down, you're hanging on appendages, and even the character goes, "I don't think I should be doing this."
Yeah,
Like,
I think I
very
remember that from the
self-aware.
Naked Gun movies, the first one.
Yeah.
But the last one I want to talk about before we move on and talk some comic stuff. Bethesda. I love Bethesda, as glitchy as their games are, and I've always loved Bethesda games. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I love Indiana Jones games. I used to play the ones on the computer back when it was like 16-bit, and he kind of just had to walk around from place to place.
Fate of Atlantis is an amazing
Yep.
game.
Yep. So this one, all they really had to do was throw in the correct punch sound effect of Indiana Jones, and they did. And I'm like, I'm just gonna run around and punch everybody. Just get that whiplash punch sound.
Yep.
I mean, it's
It's
punching
short
Nazis.
round.
It's punching Nazis. It's going through and solving puzzles. It's everything Indiana Jones. And I'm like, please continue to make. I want everyone to buy this game so Bethesda makes more of these games.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like you were saying, my older son came downstairs and he was like, we watched all the trailers together. And then when we got to the Indiana Jones one, there was the one punch when it's the thunderclap punch. And I looked over it. My son was like, oh, they got me. They already got me on this
Like,
one.
that was it.
exactly
That was it.
with you. The thing is that the voice actor sounds exactly like a young Harrison Ford. Like
That's
that.
pretty
It is
good. I wonder if it's
amazing that
AI.
maybe it's AI, it's AI enhanced, but that's one of the things that always takes me out of the ride at Disneyland is that actor doesn't sound anything like Harrison Ford at all. Like on even if I squint, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't.
It's Troy Baker. That guy is a killer voice actor. He's doing Indiana Jones.
Rad. It's perfect. He sounds exactly like a young Harrison Ford can't sound like a young him anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, have somebody who sounds like him. There's this and it's a long trailer that they showed, right? And so there's this scene where Indiana Jones is on like in the frozen wastes somewhere on a giant battleship that has ended up on the top of a mountain somehow, which who cares how it got there, because it looks
doesn't
amazing.
matter.
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
It doesn't matter.
And it becomes part of like the thing that they're fighting about, that the ship starts to tilt and everyone starts sliding off of it, right? While he's hand-to-hand combating these Nazis that I don't know that they're going to be exactly Nazis. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to get away from that. It might be like, oh, these are some guys who used to be Nazis, and now since we're not using Nazis anymore. Anyway, there's a scene where they're fighting with each other, and then there's a crate that starts sliding down the deck, and they're sitting there fighting each other, and they pull away from each other for a second, and the crate slides in between them, knocking a dude off of the thing out, and he goes, ah, and they fly out, and then they look back at each other and then go back to the fight. And it's like, oh God, they're doing such a good job. They
look back at each other, and then they smirk at each other like, hey, that was pretty close. And then he throws him off and then he just throws him off the side. I was like, so good.
Yes, it's like whoever is writing this, get them some more like Red Whips or whatever thing he needs in his room. You know what I mean? It's like you shouldn't have to leave your computer for anything. You know, you keep working on this, and we'll sit here waiting for it, because God, they've just got the tone so far. And like I said, anybody can cut a cool trailer, but you know what I mean? It's like
that was gameplay too. That was trailer and gameplay.
Right. And so the developer is Machine Games. So it's being distributed by Bethesda. But Machine Games is the guys who made all of the recent Wolfenstein games, and they're so much fun, and they look wonderful. So if it is anything like those, they've got a really good chance of a super awesome game here. Don't want to get too excited, because I have lived life and I know what happens when you get too excited about some of these things. But this one is like, oh, please let this be good.
Yeah. So I like Todd Howard. He's the head of Bethesda. He's actually he's the executive producer on this too, and he does a good. Again, he's in charge of Fallout and Skyrim and Starfield and all the other stuff. But I did find the little plot, and it says so. It takes place between Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade, and it says it takes place so 1937, before World War II, with all three of the Axis powers, the Germany, Italy, and Japan returning as antagonists. It says the game picks up after Jones has left his fiancée Marion. Following the theft of an artifact from Marshall College, Jones heads to the Vatican to investigate. Jones notes that that sites of spiritual significance have been built throughout history, realizing that their locations perfectly align in a circle around the globe. And they go to Thailand and the pyramids and Shanghai, China, Himalayas. I'm so in on this game, and they announced it in 2021, and I thought, post COVID, that it might be one of those ones that I'm just like, oh, it went away, because they just kind of showed the title and they did the little bit of the music, which also that got me when they started playing the Raiders theme in it with the like slightly different for the game. I'm like, just put it in my veins, please.
Yep.
As quick as you can. Yeah. So that's awesome. I'm very excited for like most of those games that we talked about, but that is top of the
Xbox
list
firing
by far.
on all cylinders. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like
That's what happens when you buy all of the game developers. You
I
just buy
guess,
them all,
right? Yeah.
and then stuff will stick eventually. But they need to. PlayStation has had such a jump on them with the God of War games and the Spider-Man games, and they're going to be coming out like with the Wolverine game that's going to be coming out. They're killing it on PlayStation. So Xbox needed this to try and get that going again. But okay, just some now that we're like 45 minutes in, some comic stuff. So Jeff Loeb.
Oh, by the way, hang on before you start this, Andrew. This is what it feels like when you guys are playing talking about Star Trek.
You could participate in Star Trek discussions if you chose to.
Yes, yes, I participate in this one is in the Star Trek discussions exactly the same way that you participated in the video games once. But I've heard of that character.
Hey, I could
know
have
that
jumped
guy.
in. I'll have you know, one of the first video games I ever watched get beaten was the very first Metal Gear game for the Nintendo. My friend and neighbor Aaron Crocker beat it. And he was calling to get hints from the Nintendo Power Hotline for one of the most 80s sentences ever.
Right. Oh man. Yeah, okay, so Jeff Loeb, he is going to be writing Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween. It was he said it was a story that was discussed with artist Tim Sale before his passing in 2022, meant to wrap up the trilogy started with a Long Halloween and continued in Dark Victory. The quote that he said with the interview with IGN said, Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, terrible name. Just call it Batman, The Last Halloween. He said it's Tim Sale's parting gift to me. Tim and I already decided to tell this chapter following Batman the Long Halloween special, which will serve as the prologue to this 10-part action-packed mystery. And so it looks like the artists that they have on it, Mark Chiarello and Richard Starkings.
Richard
who also
Starkings
helped-
is a letterer also. He did Elephant Man.
Yeah. So there, and apparently they worked on the other two Long Halloween titles. So they'll be with him too. But what did you guys like? I like the Long Halloween. I don't think I ever read Dark Victory though.
Oh, Dark Victory's good. It's an anthology. It's not holiday themed per se, but like it's got a good story where Barbara gets kidnapped by the Mad Hatter, things like that. And it's if you liked Long Halloween and Dark Victory, you'd like this one. Okay. The Haunted Night, I think, is what I'm thinking of, which is Tim Sale and Jeff Loeb again. also.
Okay.
It's fun stuff. I always liked it because of how stylish the art is, Tim Sale's art. So I'll be curious what they do with it. I know DC really likes The Long Halloween. They've adapted it to two different movies now.
Just taking little bit by little bit instead of just making the comic.
Well, they did animated, but that was
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that something the last Halloween something that you'll probably pick up or
No.
nope?
Last Halloween has always felt like it's more style than substance. It's like you said, if you like the art, you can check it out and you'll like it, but it's nothing earth shattering.
It serves as a nice sequel series to the year 1 and year 2 stories from the 80s.
Okay. So next, they announced that The Boys will be ending after season 5. Season 4 is set to premiere. The first 3 episodes are coming out on Thursday, June 13th. And it looks like it's an 8-episode season. But yeah, then he says Eric Kripke, Eric Kripke, that's it. Eric Kripke, the showrunner, said that he always intended it to end at 5 seasons. So
that's probably good. Prevent it from going on too long.
Yeah. I think that's perfect. I have enjoyed it. But yeah. Do you guys have any comics you guys want to talk about this week?
I'd like to recommend a bunch of Jughead comics from the Silver Age that Chris got me
for
my birthday. Those have been terrific. I have them put away in the other room, in fact. But one of them featured on the cover the Archie superheroes, the Black Hood, Fly, and the Shield. And inside the comic featured robots installed at Riverdale High that are built exclusively to beat the children for not being attentive. Yeah, there's a boxing glove comes out of this robot and just punches Jughead in the back of the head. It's crazy.
Here's your concussion, child. Bam.
Yeah.
His back is turned, That robot would have gone to jail in the Old West for that move.
What about you, Chris? You got anything?
I want to encourage everyone who listens to the show to go tomorrow. The recording today is the 11th. Tomorrow is Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. Be a Wednesday warrior. Go out to your local comic shop and pick up Plastic Death and Dolls #1 by Doug Wagner. Good friend of ours, good friend of the show. It is I believe it's a prequel to the Plastic series, which was a huge hit for him. And so if you like that book, this is going to be more of the same creative team. And so get a origin of all your favorite characters from there. So yeah, check out Plastic Death and Dolls #1.
Cool. The one I read Amazing Spider-Man #51, Zeb Wells. Still don't quite understand what's going on. I've been reading since issue 27 and I'm on 51 and I still am like there's always enough to keep me like, oh, okay, well, I can let's see where they're going. But it's just, I'm at 30 issues of let's see where they're going. And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't quite know. And I also don't know, maybe because I jumped in at issue 20 something, that maybe there's some stuff I'm missing, but
so how
I'm waiting for a soft.
Is it? I'm
I mean,
I need clarification.
So they're referring to like basically they take the demons or the sins that make Norman Osborn crazy, the voices in his head, and they use a magic spear to take it out of him. And Craven the Hunter had it, and then he kind of got infected with those demons, but then he stabbed Peter. But Peter's been able to kind of keep a lid on it. Like Norman is now back to normal. Norman, he's created, he's taken his Green Goblin suit, and he's the Golden Goblin now, and he's kind of like a hero. See, can you see what I mean? You see what I mean? Just from
Yes,
I'm
that's
just
a lot
doing
going
the
on.
plot points.
Described a Spider-Man comic.
Like,
Is he
and then-
taking pictures of himself to sell to the Bugle?
No,
You're way. This is so far off base for a Spider-Man comic.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
And there's like stuff with Ben Riley is back, and I like Ben Riley, but like he's
Sure.
what does he call himself in this one? It starts
The
with
Scarlet
C.
Pimpernel.
No,
He has
No.
a cape.
no,
Big floppy
Chasm.
hat. Huh?
He calls himself
Chasm?
Chasm, and he's purple and blue and
Chasm.
I believe
Like-
it's pronounced.
like a big hole in the ground.
yeah, like a big hole, and it Limbo is involved, and the Goblin Queen and
I believe it's pronounced Chasm.
Chasm. Ben Chasm.
Ben, I'm DJ Ben
Ben.
Chasm.
There-
Spin it.
There's your next cover that you do on your stream. DJ
Yeah.
Ben Chasm.
Ben
Um,
Chasm is doing one of these actions. Yeah, he's pumping the crowd. Yeah.
So yeah, it's so confusing. Like it's so confusing. And like this whole thing, like the Sinister Six is in it. They got
Sounds like
rounded
too
up
much
in one
stuff,
issue. And I just noticed that the Sinister Six really likes the color green, because other than Craven, that's like their uniform. And it never clicked in my head. Because the Vulture, Doc Ock, Electro, Sandman, Mysterio, and then Craven.
Well, I think you just described that most of the Spider-Man villains are a complementary color of Spider-Man.
Right?
Mhm.
Probably so that if you threw them on a yellow cover, they'd pop.
They would pop, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I've been reading. I'm excited to pick up Doug's book tomorrow. So we talk about that one next week for sure. But yeah, that's all I had. You guys have anything else you wanna hit
Please
before
tune
we
into Whatnot Monday nights at 7 or 7:30 or 8 when Chris is drawing on Whatnot Live, where you can get commissions, ask questions, or hear how much he likes or dislikes something. Also go to ValidiStudios.com to hear about all the fun stuff that we're working on, or find the Nerd Dome podcast on anywhere fine podcasts are found.
Yes. And speaking of that, we a while back, probably 2017, we had made a bunch of Nerd Dome podcast t-shirts. And we always joked that we only had 16 listeners, so we called them the Solid 16. We found an entire box of probably about 50 Nerd Dome podcast t-shirts. So we need to come up with something for our listeners to get some t-shirts. I'll have to give some to you guys for your next signing.
Yeah. This
And I
sounds like
figured
an
that
event.
that'd be a good one. Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
Charles found it in the back of his store, and he's like, "Hey, I found a bunch of t-shirts." So yeah,
I've got
so keep-
someone
keep-
here that wants one real bad.
Perfect. And listen, you guys need one too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll details to come.
Fabulous.
But yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone. Oh, Ryan's not here. Who wants to say the thing?
Oh God, I don't know his lines. I memorized mine.
So someone has to say, don't forget to subscribe.
Okay. Is that the only one? He says
No,
something
he-
else, doesn't he?
Yeah, later.
Okay. Oh God, I don't listen to this show.
Just,
I don't know what
you're
he
just
says.
on it. You're
He's
just,
just
on,
on
it
it.
every
Yeah.
week.
This is a springboard, man. You know what they call this? A vehicle. I'm on to way bigger and better things than this.
Someone just say, don't forget to subscribe.
Okay.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Snub
You
I
may
feel
now
like
exit the
Ryan,
dome.
I feel like
Ugh.
Ryan would accept this, given the way he messes with you every time.
This is true. This
In
is
his
true. But
spirit.
you may now exit the dome. Go, Chris.
Oh, fuck responsibility.
I could see the whole time. This is where Ryan says, Hail Hydra.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say here.
Oh, yes. Oh. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you next week.
It's right behind you, Andrew.
Oh God! Ah!
And that's